Breaking news! The fire is burning brighter than ever, and this team is being led with vision, grit, and pure determination on and off the field. If you've been paying attention, you know this isn't luck. It's solid work with a winning mindset. But before we dive into today's first big headline, I've got a question for you. What grade would you give our current leadership? As for me, it's a solid 1,000 out of 10. No doubt about it. Honestly, I haven't been this hyped in decades. If you're feeling the same way, if you believe this team is on the verge of greatness, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a fellow Bills fan who lives for this energy. And let me tell you, a lot of people are starting to believe this could finally be our year. And you know what? I believe it too. We're going all the way. But hold that excitement for just a second, because right now, it's time for today's first major update. 6 days, just 6 days away from training camp, and Bills Mafia, I know you can feel it in your bones. This isn't just the start of another NFL season. This could be the year everything changes, because if the Buffalo Bills are going to get over that hump and finally hoist the Lombardi Trophy, there are 3 players who absolutely must break out in 2025. Not might, not could, must. And here's the twist. These aren't just guys on the roster. These are the players who were drafted with high expectations. These are the guys the front office believed in. And now, it's go time. Let's start with Keon Coleman, wide receiver, second year. And if we're being honest, he's a bit of a mystery box right now. Drafted as the top pick by Buffalo in the 2024 NFL Draft, Coleman's rookie campaign didn't exactly light the league on fire. In 13 games, he recorded just 29 receptions for 556 yards and 4 touchdowns. The touchdowns? Encouraging. The rest? Underwhelming. But here's the kicker. Coleman was dealing with a hand injury, and that slowed what started as a promising trajectory. So we asked ourselves, was that rookie season a fluke, or just a preview of a breakout waiting to happen? And the pressure on him? Oh, it's real. The Bills didn't add a big-name wide receiver this offseason. That means Coleman is no longer just a nice-to-have. He's a need to emerge. With Khalil Shakir currently the highest-paid wideout on the roster and effectively the WR1 by default, this receiver room is clearly going to be operated by committee. But in that structure lies an opening for Coleman to elevate, not just to wide receiver 2 status, but to challenge for the top spot if he can take that leap. Now, let's break down his player comparison. People like to throw out DK Metcalf. Big body, freak athleticism, that's what DK brings to the table. But Keon Coleman? He's not DK. He's more in the mold of Michael Pittman Jr. Big, fluid, technical, less brute force, more finesse. Pittman's career has been hampered by subpar quarterback play, but Coleman has Josh Allen, and that could make all the difference. So what would success even look like for Coleman in 2025? Realistically, something in the realm of 50 receptions, 700 yards, and 6 touchdowns would mark a true step forward. He's got the build and the deep threat potential. Now he needs to refine his route running and perhaps drop a few pounds to pick up some speed. The question isn't whether the tools are there, it's whether he can sharpen them in time. But we're not done. Flip the script. Let's go defense. And let's talk Cole Bishop, another high draft pick. Another player who's yet to show he belongs in the NFL elite. Last season, Bishop started only 4 games. And considering the mediocrity of the Bills' safety depth chart, that's concerning. Damar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp were seeing the field way more than Bishop, and that's not a glowing endorsement for a second-round draft pick. Let's be real, after years of Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer anchoring the back end, the Bills are in desperate need of the next great safety. Could Bishop be that guy? Maybe. But right now, it's a big maybe. When Bishop was drafted, the scouting report was clear, high motor, fluid in movement, aggressive, a playmaker by nature. All of that showed in flashes last year. But the problems? They stood out more. He abandoned his coverage zones too quickly, always chasing the play instead of letting it develop. It's like a young baseball outfielder sprinting toward the fence before the pitch is even thrown, over-eager, over-aggressive, and out of position. And the numbers back it up. Bishop's coverage grade? Not good. Dog water, as it was described. Harsh, but fair. On the flip side, his pass rush grade was excellent. So here's what we're looking at. A raw, aggressive, talented player who needs to refine the cerebral side of the safety position. Can he read plays? Can he be patient? Can he control that fire and channel it into disciplined, impactful football? Because if he can, Bishop could become the first legitimate cornerstone safety the Bills have had since Hyde and Poyer in their prime. And in a safety room that is, let's face it, average at best, there's a massive opportunity for Bishop to seize a starting role and never let it go. But the leash? It's short. And the time? It's now. And then there's Dalton Kincaid. Tight end, drafted late in the first round in 2023. A player who has shown flashes, moments that make you say there it is, but not the sustained production to match his draft pedigree. Some fans might be surprised to see his name on this breakout list. Didn't he already have a solid rookie year? Didn't he get injured last season, which explains the dip? Yes and yes, but that doesn't change the fact that Kincaid still has more to prove. Let's look at the numbers. In 2024, Kincaid had 75 targets, 44 receptions, 448 yards, and 2 touchdowns in 13 games. Decent, respectable, but not what you want from a tight end drafted in the first round. Not when you've got Josh Allen as your quarterback. And that's where this conversation turns serious. Kincaid needs to become that security blanket, that over-the-middle mismatch that moves the chains, extends drives, and gives Allen a reliable target when it matters most. Think about what Travis Kelce is to Patrick Mahomes, what Mark Andrews is to Lamar Jackson. That's the level Kincaid has to reach. Maybe not in total production yet, but in consistency and trust. PFF gave Kincaid a solid grade, on par with guys like Mike Gesicki, Evan Engram, Dallas Goedert. That's promising. But for Kincaid, staying healthy is the absolute key. Because if he's on the field for 17 games, 700 yards should be the minimum target. That's the baseline for a breakout. And let's be clear, this isn't just about personal accolades. This is about the Bills making a run. A real, legitimate, no excuses Super Bowl run. Because they've been close. So close. And these 3 players, Keon Coleman, Cole Bishop, Dalton Kincaid, are the X factors that can shift Buffalo from contender to champion. So Bills Mafia, here's where I turn it over to you. What do you think? Will Keon Coleman step into that WR2 role, or even challenge for WR1? Is Cole Bishop the next great safety, or just another flameout? And can Dalton Kincaid become the star tight end we hoped for when we drafted him in the first round? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Over or under 700 yards for Kincaid? Will Bishop earn a full-time starting job? And is Coleman going to be the deep threat that finally opens up this offense? And if you're still with me, Bills Mafia, then you know exactly how serious this conversation is. Because this isn't just about potential anymore. This is about production. This is about now. This is about seizing the moment and rewriting the story of the Buffalo Bills. No more moral victories. No more almost seasons. No more wasted opportunities. These 3 players, Coleman, Bishop, and Kincaid, aren't just breakout candidates. They're breakout requirements if the Bills want to finally break through that glass ceiling. Let's circle back to Keon Coleman for a moment. The kid's got size, 6 feet 4 inches, 215 pounds. He's built to win contested catches. He's built to be a red zone nightmare. He's built to be the guy. But as of now, he's still a project. And the clock is ticking. With Stefon Diggs now long gone and no major WR added in free agency or the draft, the target share is up for grabs. Khalil Shaker might be the most polished option at the moment, but he's not going to carry a top 5 offense on his own. And that's where Coleman has to rise. He has to be the one who takes the top off defenses and forces coverage shifts. He has to be the guy who creates space underneath for guys like Kincaid and James Cook. But for all that to happen, he has to evolve. He has to become more than just a